Morning, guys. Matthew with Be Different, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the approval of others. And don't we just all look for the approval of someone that's either closest to us, or maybe even someone you don't care about? Maybe you're trying to seek their approval the most because you have this desperate need to be liked. You have a desperate need to have approval from someone because the fact that they don't like you, or they can't stand you, or you heard it from someone else, or the fact that they don't like what you do, whatever that it is, you're looking for that approval from them to say, hey, great job, or I appreciate that. And you know what? A lot of times I learned, especially, you're not going to get that approval from those people. Sometimes it may happen one day out of nowhere, but I would encourage you guys to not expect the approval of other people, especially being a Christian. It's the world views Christianity and it gets a lot of negative connotation because of other Christians. And the fact is that what we don't understand a lot is that we're all human and we screw up. So all that aside, we're constantly looking for the approval of Christian brothers and sisters, people who are not, people who are in status above us, people who may be in a completely different area of life than we are. And for some reason, we long for that approval. But what approval really matters? I'll tell you, it's God's approval. Does God approve of what you're doing? Does God approve of you? Does God approve of your thoughts? Does God approve of your heart status? Does He approve of your behavior? Does He approve of what you're saying, what you're thinking? And a lot of times some crazy stuff goes on up there, and you're like, if God, analyzed everything that you thought, man, I would, I don't know how I would get to heaven, sometimes, because it's like crazy things go through your head. Now, you don't act on them, but the point is that they go through your head. And so we need to focus on God's approval because He is the one that has the final say. He's the actual judge of our character. And other people can judge us, say what they want to say, do what they want to do. But you know what? It's not up to us to try to get their approval. It's not up to us to try to make them happy. It's not up to us to try to meet their standard. And a lot of times we do that so often, sometimes without even thinking, because we want that feedback, we want that approval, that affirmation to say, okay, sweet, I'm doing it right, or I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But in reality, it doesn't matter. If God says, yes, my son and daughter, you're doing fantastic, I love it, I love you, that is what matters. And so I looked up some scriptures this morning about approval. And you could tell that, there's all kinds of verses that reference approval and God's approval. And so I have just a few for you this morning. And it's James 1:12. It says, happy is the person who can hold up under the trials of life. At the right time, he'll know God's sweet approval and will be crowned with life. As God has promised, the crown awaits all who love Him. And so right there, in James 1:12, it's talking about you will know God's approval. And He will crown you with life. And because you love Him and you seek His approval above any other, then you will have a sweet life. And in Galatians 1:10 says, do you think I care about the approval of men or about the approval of God? Do you think I'm on a mission to please people? If I'm still spinning my wheels trying to please men, then there is no way I can be a servant of the Anointed One, the liberating King. Again, we see that if we're trying to pursue the approval of men, it's an endless cycle. It will never stop. And we need to continuously never stop trying to seek God's approval, because you can't serve God if you're constantly trying to serve men. In John 5:44, that's why it's so hard to see how true faith is even possible for you. You are consumed by the approval of other men, longing to look good in their eyes, and yet you disregard the approval of the one true God. Again, we see it so clearly that we are trying to, in this life, constantly seek man's approval. And it gets us nowhere fast. because men will always let us down. Men will always fail us. Men will always falls short because we're human. Everybody falls short. Christian, non-believer, whatever. If you're human, if you're flesh and blood, it doesn't matter your race, religion, none of that matters. We all fall short. We all mess up. It happens all the time. And whether you want to admit it or not, it happens. And we need to constantly seek God's approval, because if He puts His seal of approval on it, then we know that we're doing the will of God and we know that we're in the right. I encourage you guys today to seek God's approval, because His is the one that matters the most. Have a great day, guys.